of view. It's that I had to kill her. I wasn't angry or anything. Basically emotionless, just that I had to kill her. Yep.
Sad news out of northern West Virginia, where police say they believe they have found the remains of a missing 15-year-old girl.
In today's first case, we delve into the chilling mystery surrounding a woman who vanished just days before her wedding, uncovering the shocking and horrific truth behind her disappearance. Additionally, we'll step into the haunting and tragic world of 15-year-old Riley Crossman, piecing together the harrowing events that shattered the tranquility of her home. Brace yourselves. We're stepping into the crime scene now.
We really want her to come home.
Stephanie Scott, a 26-year-old resident of Leeton, a town in southern Australia, lived with her fiancé, Aaron. Both grew up in the same area and had known each other for years through their involvement in sports. Although they were initially close friends, their relationship took a romantic turn at Aaron's 21st birthday party. Following in her father's footsteps, Stephanie became a teacher after graduating from university. She taught drama at Leeton High School and was highly regarded by her colleagues for her dedication to her students and her lively presence in the classroom. As April 11, 2015 approached, Stephanie and Aaron eagerly anticipated their wedding day. Stephanie, being a perfectionist, had meticulously planned every aspect of the wedding for months. After organizing her bachelorette party and making arrangements for their honeymoon hotel, Stephanie left her home on April 5, 2015 to meet a colleague at school. Her intention was to hand over her responsibilities to a substitute teacher before returning home. However, Aaron began to worry when he didn't hear from her throughout the day, as Stephanie was usually prompt in her responses. Growing more anxious as more than 24 hours passed without any word from his fiancée, Aaron contacted Stephanie's family and reported her disappearance to the police. Concerned that Stephanie may have been involved in an accident on her way to school or stranded somewhere, the police initiated a search operation using helicopters. As it was a Sunday, there were few witnesses at the school, which made the investigation relatively straightforward. Attendance records from Stephanie's classroom confirmed her presence in the afternoon, but beyond that, there were no clues as to what had happened next. Stephanie's phone was turned off, and there was no activity on her bank accounts or social media. The police then appealed to the public for any information, spreading their appeals on social media and through news outlets. The response was overwhelming, with hundreds of people joining the search. As the week leading up to the wedding day arrived, the family's optimism began to wane. Stephanie's mother, Marilyn, spoke to the press about the emotional toll her daughter's disappearance was taking on them. Marilyn asserted that Stephanie would never leave town without informing them, especially considering her imminent marriage to Aaron, the love of her life. It was clear that Stephanie had not impulsively abandoned everything. A breakthrough in the case came when a witness near Leeton High School contacted the police, claiming to possess crucial information. According to the witness, at around 2 p.m., they heard suspicious sounds, possibly indicating that someone was moving items. He noticed Stephanie's car parked near a covered walkway. Initially, he didn't think much of it, but later he realized that the car had disappeared. Another witness, a school employee, had a peculiar conversation with one of the cleaners on Monday morning after the holidays. During their discussion, the witness asked the cleaner if he had seen Stephanie, to which the cleaner responded that he hadn't. The witness suggested that Stephanie might have run away due to wedding stress. This troubled the witness when the janitor, Vincent Stamford, laughed off the suggestion. Vincent, who was 24 years old, was later questioned by detectives. During the interview, Vincent claimed that he had come to the school that day to take out the trash bins, but said he hadn't seen Stephanie and couldn't assist the investigators. Investigators found Vincent's statements suspicious and began to probe deeper. He quickly became the prime suspect. They visited his home, where he lived with his mother, for a more detailed interview. Upon arrival, Vincent's mother allowed the police to enter. During the search, they discovered items that Vincent had brought home, including a key believed to belong to Stephanie. Vincent's vehicle was seized, and tear tracks not matching the vehicle were found at the back of the house. In the bedroom, investigators found a used condom. Vincent was questioned again about his whereabouts that day. He pointed to a camera on the passenger seat and claimed he had gone out to take photos. The investigators asked to see the camera, and Vincent gave them permission. When they turned on the camera, they saw a horrifying image, the burnt body of a woman in the woods. Vincent claimed that these images were from a movie and that he found them amusing, which is why they were on his camera. However, the police identified the body as Stephanie's. Following this horrific discovery, 25-year-old Vincent Stanford was arrested in connection with Stephanie's disappearance. His phone and laptop contained explicit sexual content and graphic images, including indecent photos of high school girls. Despite not finding her body, Stanford was charged with Stephanie's murder and arrested on April 9th. The police identified the location where the photo was taken. They sought the public's help once again and received information from a witness. The witness saw a man throw something resembling a laptop into the canal near the vehicle on Sunday. The police searched the indicated area and found the laptop. Finally, they made the dreadful discovery that everyone had been waiting for. Stephanie Scott's burned and abandoned body was discovered 60 kilometers away from Leeton High School, just one day before her wedding. She had been shot in the head 40 times, stabbed in the neck, and subjected to blunt force trauma. Vincent, who had photos of Stephanie on his phone, voluntarily contacted the police and recounted the events of the day of the murder.
What feeling came over you? Like, what did you feel?
Just that I had to kill her. I wasn't angry or anything. Basically emotionless, just that I had to kill her.
Yep.
Upon seeing her, he made the decision to commit the crime. He then returned home, took a rape kit consisting of handcuffs, Viagra, a knife, and cleaning supplies. Meanwhile, Stephanie finished her work and planned to pack her belongings and leave the school. She made eye contact with Vincent and wished him a happy Easter. Suddenly, without warning, Vincent attacked her. After the attack, Vincent went home to make a sandwich and have some coffee when he realized he was hungry. Stephanie's lifeless body was left on the floor. Once Vincent finished his meal, he returned to the school, placed the body in the trunk of his car, and disposed of Stephanie's vehicle as well. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Vincent denied committing sexual assault. The investigators knew he was lying and aimed to charge him with aggravated sexual assault. An investigation of Vincent's phone revealed that he frequently hid in girls' restrooms at school and secretly followed a 12-year-old girl. Nearly 2,000 photos of this girl were found, but her name was not disclosed. Additionally, Vincent had previously followed Stephanie and documented information about her in his diary, including times she was away and details about the others present at his house. Investigators believed that the young girl was his original target, but he was unable to carry out his plan and shifted his attention to Stephanie. Stores in Leeton closed, and classes at the high school where Stephanie worked were canceled as a tribute to her. Stephanie's funeral took place at the same venue where the couple was supposed to get married, and approximately 1,000 people attended. Vincent was awaiting trial in prison when the police discovered his brother, Marcus Stanford. Initially, Marcus claimed to have no knowledge of the missing teacher. However, the police grew suspicious of him. Searches were conducted at Vincent's residence, but Stephanie's rings were not found. They asked Marcus if he had any information about the rings. Despite repeatedly denying his involvement, Marcus's computer searches revealed the truth. 4 days after Stephanie's remains were discovered, he was found searching online for places to sell jewelry. Based on a business card found among Marcus's possessions, it was determined that Stephanie's rings were sold for $705, leading to Marcus's arrest and charge of complicity in the murder. On March 31, 2016, Marcus made a confession admitting to selling the rings under his brother's orders and destroying his driver's license by burning it. However, Marcus had thought ahead and taken a photo of the license before destroying it, keeping it saved on his phone as evidence. He expressed deep regret and repeatedly apologized for his involvement in the murder, claiming that he had no other choice but to assist his twin. As a result, Marcus was found guilty of being an accessory to murder and was subsequently sentenced to 15 months in prison. In July 2016, Vincent Stanford pleaded guilty to murder, aggravated sexual assault, and physical assault. On November 14th of that same year, he was given a life sentence for the murder charge, along with an additional 15 years for the aggravated rape conviction. While technically eligible for parole in the future, experts predict that he will most likely spend the rest of his life behind bars. Unfortunately, the Scott family's suffering did not come to an end with Stephanie's death. Just 3 weeks after Vincent's trial, the family experienced another tragedy when Robert was tragically killed by a falling tree. He was cleaning the front of his house when the accident occurred, and he died instantly due to his own negligence. Before we dive into our next story, if you could take a moment to hit that like button, it would mean the world to us. A single click for you is a huge boost of encouragement for us. Riley Crossman was born on December 22, 2003, in Martinsburg, West Virginia. She was deeply cherished by her family and was the apple of their eye. Despite her parents, Lance and Chantel, divorcing when Riley was young, they managed to maintain a friendly relationship. Riley lived with her mother, Chantel, her 2 brothers, a sister, and her mother's boyfriend, Andy. On Wednesday, May 8, 2019, the day started off as a typical one for the family, with their usual morning routines for school and work. As Chantel prepared to take her sons to school, she noticed that Andy had already left the house. Before leaving, she took a quick glance into Riley's room, but Riley was nowhere to be found. This wasn't unusual since Riley often woke up early and walked to school. However, in the afternoon, Chantel received a call from Riley's school secretary, informing her that Riley hadn't attended classes that day. Concerned, Chantel immediately called Riley's cell phone, only to be directed straight to voicemail. She then reached out to Riley's friends, but none of them had seen or heard from her all day. Chantel checked Riley's social media accounts and found no activity since the previous evening. Worried and certain that something was wrong, Chantel filed a missing person report with the Berkeley police. The police informed Riley's biological father about her disappearance. Her father asserted that she wouldn't have left home of her own accord, emphasizing her responsible nature.
We really want her to come home. So please share the story.
Taking the situation seriously, the local police visited Riley's home and inspected her bedroom. Based on the disarray and unorganized state of her room, they theorized that Riley had encountered something sinister. With Chantel's help, Riley's belongings in her bedroom were thoroughly examined. The presence of her school bag and personal items indicated that she hadn't gone to school that day. Even more alarming was the discovery of bloodstains on her sheets and comforter, as well as blood splatters on the inside of the door. The collected blood samples were sent for analysis, and DNA tests confirmed that the blood belonged to Riley. Investigators tried to track Riley's cell phone, but it was turned off. This was unusual since Riley was always connected to her phone. It was revealed that the last person to have contact with Riley was her grandmother, who saw her around 7 p.m. Her mother arrived home late that evening and went straight to her room, assuming her children were safe. Riley's phone activity on the night she disappeared showed a text sent to her boyfriend Hayden at around 11 p.m. saying, "Andy is in my room, I'm scared." Investigators started to suspect that her stepfather, Andy McCauley, was involved in the case. They questioned Andy, but he claimed he hadn't seen Riley that night. Additionally, Riley tried to FaceTime her boyfriend Hayden around 5:15 a.m., but was unsuccessful. This suggested she was experiencing trouble at that time and was looking for someone to talk to. Upon questioning Andy's colleagues, investigators learned that he left home in a hurry on the day of the incident. Around 9 a.m., Andy left work in the company's truck, mentioning he had some errands and would return soon, yet he didn't come back until the afternoon. When reviewing Andy's phone movements, they discovered that his phone had been inactive all day, disappointing the police. They then inspected the truck he used at work and noticed a foul smell coming from inside. Traces of lime and chemicals, likely used to speed up the decomposition of a body, were also found. Andy became the main suspect in the investigation. Meanwhile, over 300 volunteers joined forces to search for Riley, utilizing cadaver dogs to assist in their efforts. Sadly, the searches ended in tragedy on May 16, 2019. The teams reviewed surveillance footage focusing on the spot where the Dodge truck was last seen, and they discovered Riley's mutilated remains on a hillside. Clothing found at the scene confirmed the body as Riley Crossman's. Additionally, industrial trash bags and various remains were discovered nearby. Investigators labeled Andy as a cold-blooded murderer, filed murder charges against him, and apprehended him. They began building a strong case against him. Prosecutors believed that Andy had entered Riley's bedroom multiple times on the night she disappeared. He attacked her while she was distracted on the phone and then sexually assaulted her. Riley fought back, resulting in severe injuries. The exact cause of death couldn't be determined due to the advanced decomposition of the body. However, blood and saliva traces found on her pillow suggested that Riley was likely strangled. After committing the horrific murder, Andy stripped Riley of her blanket and left her in bed until morning. He planned to load her onto his truck early the next day, hoping that her mother wouldn't check on her. Around 9:30 a.m., he brought the truck home, which he had taken from work, loaded Riley's body, and then drove to the woods to dispose of it. After a 2-year trial, a Morgan County jury found Andy guilty of murdering Riley Crossman and sentenced him to life in prison. Andy's defense team appealed the verdict, but the judge denied the request. Andy is currently serving his sentence in prison, where he will hopefully remain for the rest of his life. Before we conclude this video, please be aware that the video on the left may be disturbing. It is recommended for adult viewing only. On the right, you'll find a playlist of videos that have been highly appreciated by our viewers.